Hello guys, and what is up? It's your boy Shieldcoomer, and today we're gonna be covering Sanguine M+22 from Holy Priest PoV. Started recording a little bit late here, I believe, so I do apologize about that. But you know, you missed maybe 10 seconds of just us running to the back.
Volatile trap.
Sanguine after quite a bit of nerfs and stuff, he's becoming a relatively reasonable dungeon in this season, and honestly in the previous season especially as well. It is not as crazy as it was. There's way less frontals and way less annoying mechanics that used to kind of like kill keys. And also like with the positioning changes in that circle and the lantern positioning changes as well compared to the mobs. I think it's not become one of the more fun keys in my opinion, because it's just fun playing with this lantern, you know? It's like you form your pulls around it, you survive these pulls, and then you're just gonna have a free damage buff. And you know, if there's one thing I think everybody likes doing in video games, it's dealing more damage, so that's fun. Regardless, you know, this is like your standard builds, as standard as they come. Maybe one thing I should mention is, I mean, it's Tyrannical week, and usually I would say it's a little bit safer to play Flash Concentration on Tyrannical weeks, but I personally feel like it is just completely fine to play Harmonious Apparatus. Harmonious Apparatus has kind of grown on me a little bit in terms of how fluid the playstyle is. Obviously, Flash Concentration, I feel like for higher keys is still probably a better option. I think I have seen people time high keys with both Apparatus and Flash Concentration. I think it just comes down to, like, if you're an experienced healer, I think you kind of have the feel for like which dungeons need which. And in my opinion, this is a dungeon that could potentially warrant a Flash Concentration, but Harmonious Apparatus isn't to be underestimated in terms of output either. And honestly, I'm not even playing it that optimally. I just kind of feel like it's more fluid. But there's like a lot of ways to get good HPS out of Harmonious Apparatus as well. I don't use like you can, because you can make use of like the extra abilities that reduce like your CD on our holy words, right? So you can abuse that a lot more, but I don't really abuse the what's it called, prayer of healing. Yeah, is what I wanted to say. A prayer of healing, I just haven't really developed a habit of casting it that much yet, but it is a good cast at the moment. If you're playing Harmonious Apparatus, of course. If you have Flash Concentration, you can remove it from your bars. You're never gonna use it realistically, because the heal is always gonna be like a higher value, you know, health per mana and per cast as well, even in AoE situations, believe it or not. But when it comes down to Harmonious Apparatus, you do have a lot of, there's a lot of argument for using a Prayer of Healing. It's our main AoE filler spell, and it doesn't have a cooldown, so you can use it a lot, and it has a cast time, so it's not the most fun ability to use. And I also prefer just using like Circle of Healing, and then kind of like when I need more AoE healing, I will usually lean back onto like just Prayer of Mending plus my single target heals and stuff like that. And in a group environment, it usually works. But it is something to kind of like consider a little bit, and you know, maybe get into habit of using, because if there's like an ongoing AoE, then it's still a good cast, right? But I found that like I've never lacked AoE healing in these keys yet.
Severing Smash.
I think so for the most part. But see here, like I'm thinking in retrospective here, like it could be good to cast it, you know what I mean. And here I think I was thinking about hymning there, but I decided against it. But overall, this key was pretty smooth, if I remember correctly. tank was a friend, the rest were pugs, and as you can see, like they dealt some nice damage. It's pretty good damage numbers on the overall and on the boss, you know, single target. Also pretty decent, everybody around 12k and then Warlock on 20k balance class. But yeah, obviously with PIs, so yeah, it does, you know, make sense that their damage is a little bit boosted. Warlocks are pretty good right now. And also I want to say one more thing, like here in Alpha I'm always using like Desperate Prayer, and I also usually use Fade when I soak these balls, but this time I just kind of like, I think I wanted to save myself like a click, because I felt like I had to do like a lot of emergency healing. But you definitely wanna use, yeah, I used it now, okay. Yeah, you just wanna use it like
vicious headbutt.
Whenever you know you're gonna take damage that might put you at risk. Obviously don't overuse it, because if you overuse it then you might not have it when you actually need it. But just in general, Fade with the conduit that reduces the damage you take is a very valuable tool and should not be underestimated. And in high tier content, aka like progression rating and M+, it is, I would argue it is probably a must-have conduit. You have a 30-second DR that is imperative to have on a priest, because we lack survivability in general, and we also lack the heals. Sorry, not the kills. I was looking at what is happening in this key, and this triggered me, like looking back at this. Yeah, we just lack the we lack the survivability as priests. So having a DR is definitely something we need, because we don't have any other form of immunity or DR. So we're definitely squishy in that regard, which is also why I'm pushing my stats to have haste. Sorry, not haste, the versatility. I like to have like a little bit more versa, and the reason for this is because previous tier, you know, when I was doing Sanctum of Domination, like, I had pretty good gear towards the end. I was almost best in slot. I now lacked Trinket as disc, but at some point I noticed I have very low versatility, so I started chasing like off pieces with versatility, simply because I hit, you know, the quote-unquote haste cap. It's not really a cap, but it's like diminishing returns and stuff. And then it's like, what is the next most valuable stat? You know, in terms of output, it definitely is kind of like mastery and crit, right? But then you think about it, like, this is all nice, but I noticed I'm dying a lot, and I thought to myself, am I a shit player? Like, what is happening? And then I realized I had like 4% Versa or something. I don't even know how I got that low on versatility. My point is, you definitely want some versatility. Like, I would say the very minimum would be about like this is for priest, by the way, guys. I don't know about other classes and stuff, because obviously every class has different issues. Priest in general lacks survivability, so having that Versa and having that Fade DR is sort of kinda like almost mandatory, and you need to be good at using these defensives as well. You can, sometimes I overuse them and then I don't have them when I need them and stuff, which is better than not using them at all, but you definitely do want to have them. Like, you want to be as survivable as possible, simply because our class just kind of lacks that little, like, a button press that just keeps us alive, you know, because we don't have that. A lot of other classes have that, you know. You have your bubbles, you have your ice blocks, dispersions, nether walking, turtle, you name it. Like, almost every class has, like, you know, that like oh shit button. We just kind of don't, so we need to be smart with our, you know, defensive usage. You don't want to use it and then not have it. But also, I will say, Desperate Prayer is a 1.5 minute CD that you can use twice, because you also have him, and then in 1.5 minutes again you'll have it, and then you'll have another him, and so like you can get a lot of uses. And if you're not utilizing it, and if you're not utilizing him, you're just missing out on a lot of free, basically, extra HP and stuff. Yeah, here for the lantern pull, you know, everything is simple. Notice how I'm trying to interrupt very often. Like, as a holy priest, there is no real healing-wise. There's no real need for you to be close, almost ever, because our like AOE heals are quite long-reaching. However, I will say that we have a lot of value from just being in the melee, and the reason is, first of all, Bone of Ascension simply just works in melee. It has like a melee aspect of it. But other than that,
Severing slice.
fear is. I talked about this in a lot of the keys that I've covered on YouTube for you guys. I talk about this quite often, and I want to say that, like, don't underestimate fear as an interrupt, and sometimes I would even say it's maybe worth taking the fear reduction CD talent in certain keys, and this maybe would be one of those, depending on like whether you need your like Shining Force or Chastise. Fear has a lot of value in some keys where you can get a lot of multiple interrupts on multiple targets, you know. So in the keys where the mobs are actually fearable, because there's some keys where you can't fear most of the mobs, you know, the bigger ones usually, and I think maybe Theater is one of those. I think there's a lot of like mobs that just cannot get feared there, so it's like no point, you know, like why would you do that? Like it's better if you get a, let's say, a knock, you know, or Chastise. Chastise is powerful because a lot of them can be stunned, but they cannot be feared. So it's once again, it's about knowing your, you know, there's never gonna be like one optimal build that works for all the keys. You always wanna go, you know, on a case-to-case basis and just kind of think about this, and you get this through experience. But I would say, like, on default, like the baseline value, like if somebody just started playing Priest and they asked me like what talent should I go, like, I would say go Chastise, simply because it is very simple to use and it gives you a 4-second stun, and that is very powerful. But Shining Force and Fear also are powerful talents that definitely have value. Right, good team here. So because we interrupted Shackles, that's the first time I've ever done a key where no Shackle went through on this first pull. People kind of remember about it after it kills someone, but usually on start, like somebody has to die to it, so people remember to actually interrupt. Barb Shackle, like that thing kills, like don't let it go through. Barb Shackles kill, and you know, interrupt save lives. Rambling of a healer in M+, you know, nobody cares what we have to say. It's always like, interrupt, guys. Yeah, but you didn't heal. It's like, yeah, it's because you didn't interrupt. So yeah, of course, things are gonna kill us, you know. It's, yeah, imagine healing, healer not healing. Yikes. But yeah, these packs, there's not really much to say. That's why I'm kind of memeing here. Just heal people a little bit. You know, wait for bursting as the spell. Heal people up. Notice how I like to use Prayer of Mending a lot, especially because it's Harmonious Apparatus build as well, but like even if it wasn't, I would use Prayer of Mending a lot. I just like that ability. I think it's a lot of free healing, and it also like gives you, it just kind of like gives you something to cast while moving, and we don't have a lot of those, so it's always a good thing to kind of have it rolling, you know. You can even spam it, like if you're sitting for whatever reason or waiting on someone, you can just like cast. I think you can get 2 off before they expire, right? It's like 12 or 14 seconds CD, and it lasts for 30 seconds, so technically you could have 2 running before you even pull, so something to keep in mind. And yeah, here more Barb Shackles, you know, more of these, like, I really like the sound effect they have on these like guys that throw this. It sounds like, I don't know, like book pages covering or something like that. It's pretty cool.
Barbed Shackles.
But yeah, we're preparing for one of the bosses that is kind of like was notorious for like wiping people in the previous 2 seasons. This season I have not done Sanguine. That's too much, to be honest. I think I've done like 3 or 4 on higher level. Still a difficult boss, but I feel like with modern output that we have nowadays, it's not really that much of a problem. And I just noticed I'm not running the Augment Rune all this time. I guess here learn from my mistakes and make a weak aura that tracks your Eternal Augment Rune, because I mean I've literally done half a key now without having it on because I died at, you know, remember I died
Summon
after the
enemy
first boss
collector's
to
talker.
some
Stun
weird
S
aggro and simply haven't re-clicked it because I forgot. It happens.
Craggy fracture.
So don't be me. Don't lose on that like extra intellect, you know.
Severing
It's a
slice.
big value, you know. People underestimate how much these things can make a difference sometimes, you know. It's extra damage, extra healing, and extra healing
Craggy
also
fracture.
means less, you know, less
Stun
global
S
casts
skin.
wasted for healing, which in turn means extra damage, and it stacks up, you know. It stacks up. Let's say it's one less
Craggy fracture.
healing spell and one more damage spell per pack. It
Severing
does
slice.
stack up quite a bit, you know. It's probably not that big of a difference, but still, you worked hard for that, you know. You got your exalted, you wasted 40k gold, not wasted but invested, and you know, better make use of it.
Let us begin.
Boss time. So something we misplayed here a little bit is we should have Lantern 10 here and we only have Lantern 5, so that's kinda sucky, but other than that,
Coalesce manifestation.
we're going pretty clean into this pool with CDs and stuff. Here a big value on the boon
Residue.
because there was 3 targets, so just thought like why not, right? And also you can time this. Yeah, see, like this is no accident. Like you can time your boon to kind of explode when the damage is coming. I know it sounds like a little bit tricky and stuff, but it really isn't. If you just learn how these bosses work and learn about their timings, and you can track like how long your boon
Coalesce
lasts, right?
manifestation.
Because it's always the same, it doesn't change. It's 10 seconds no matter how you spin it. So knowing this, you can actually kind of abuse this fact and kind of look at like, see, castigate now in 12 seconds. If I start casting boon, okay, now it's now, for example, I'm gonna get explosion that will explode 2 seconds after the castigate starts. So exactly when castigate does like 2 ticks, when people are low, my boon would explode, and you can actually kind of use that fact quite a lot. And
Coalesce
it's kind of like a kind of makes you feel like a little bit like you're playing Disc again, you know, where you're trying to plan for damage rather than, you know, just reactively heal people, which I feel like Holy kind of does more than Disc. And it's interesting, you know, it's a small little optimization that I feel like sometimes can really make a difference. So it's just something to keep in mind. And once again, I'm gonna say, like, I love doing these commentary videos because honestly, not only do I kind of like hope I help you guys a little bit, because a lot of you say in comments like, thanks for like showing, you know, how it looks from your POV and stuff, because it helped me, you know, time my keys and stuff. So I really hope, you know, you guys are finding this helpful. But even if that wasn't the case, I'm getting a lot of value because I'm learning as well, honestly. Like talking about things sometimes, you know, saying things out loud makes you realize certain things, and I gave myself a good GA there, so that was pretty cool. That was a good play. It didn't end fast. That's nice. And yeah, it's just, you know, the best way to learn something is kind of to like review it yourself and think about it, and sometimes ask for second opinions and stuff. And it's just nice, you know. Because you can take a look at what you were doing with a from a calmer perspective, and then just kind of like review it and look into what you were doing wrong, what you can improve, stuff like that. And that has value, you know. Like I remember when I used to, you know, play Dota 2 semi-competitively, I like all the pros at the time were saying, you know, the best way to improve is you can play thousands of matches, but the value you get out of just playing the game isn't as high as you would get from just kind of watching at your replays and kind of seeing what you can do better, if that makes sense. I don't expect, like, you know, if you're doing like 15s, even 20s, like you don't have to review your gameplay. Yeah, even if you're like, if you want to be like a cutting edge raider, it's not really that necessary. But you know, if you want to improve, that is one way to improve. It is to just kind of look at what you were doing at the time and kind of see what you can do better, and kind of keep that in mind for the next time you play.
Curse of Suppression. Curse of Suppression. Curse of Suppression. Curse of Suppression.
How dare you?
This
interrupt
boss
my
is
research.
arguably one of the
Iron
hardest
Spikes.
bosses of all keys to heal. This boss is incredibly brutal.
My
Right of
patience is wearing
Supremacy.
thin.
A Ritual of Supremacy, I think, is called this ability, right, where it hits and it hurts a lot. I think the only way to like reliably keep people alive on this boss is to actually
Endless Torment.
organize and assign defensives for your group. And if you play in an organized group, that's kind of a healer
Iron
job
Spikes.
in a way. Obviously talk to your DPS, you know, sometimes, you know, you're not gonna ask like your mage to, I don't know,
Such a nuisance.
like stay in block for like 5 seconds during CDs or something, but obviously they don't have to, they can just
My
block and
patience
unblock, and that
is
will
wearing
usually do the trick, you know, even if they remove just the hit part of it would do enough. But see here I kinda like don't have all the balls and I almost died. It hurts a lot, like you need to get those balls. 4 is usually
Endless Torment.
the sweet spot, but if you have somebody who is immune,
Iron
like
Spikes.
hard immunities such as bubble, such as, you know, or a tank that doesn't, they feel like they don't need it, then I think it's a good balance would be to do maybe 5 per person if you can
My
if
patience
you
is
can get that.
wearing
There
thin.
should be enough balls for that. If one person immunes, I think maybe not everybody can get 5, but squishy class should get as many as they can, obviously. And you can see the difference between 4 and 3 is huge. I mean, obviously it's
Endless
minus
Torment.
20% damage, but you can see on the bars as well, like it actually works. You know, it's definitely confirmed values, and
Iron
you
Spikes.
definitely want to have at least 4. And it's not even about the initial hit as much as it is about the dot afterwards. So you should
Such
try
a
and delay
nuisance.
the ball taking with the last one. So don't just run
My
like a
patience
headless
is
chicken
wearing
and
thin.
like get 4 immediately, like I think I will just do. Don't be that guy, like do it like this. See, I'm waiting, and now I take it. I took it a little bit too late. I should have taken it just before the hit, but it still helps because it carries over, and
Endless
then
Torment.
obviously like because I'm playing with Protpala, that was like a lot of extra value from, you know, holy words and stuff. He
Iron
definitely
Spikes.
helped keep us alive for sure. Like if you look at his HP, as he's mostly healing other people, he's not really healing me. Sorry, not me, but himself like that much, and that's great. That's exactly what you need. Don't forget, you also have
My
GS,
patience
right?
is
is
Guardian
wearing
Spirit.
thin.
Also, if you're playing Night Fae for whatever reason in keys, you can. It's not completely crazy. If you're playing Night Fae, don't forget that you have Power Word Shield that gives big damage reduction to people if you're using
Endless
the Night Fae ability, right? The fairies. Defensive fairies
Iron
will give
Spikes.
20% DR. Combined with these balls, you can actually make somebody basically immune to damage. Just these little things, you know, to keep in mind. Like, there I died kind of like a moron, and honestly, I don't think we even needed... we kind of needed a combat
My
rest to be
patience
fair.
is
Yeah, we
wearing
did.
thin.
We would have died to this if they didn't combat rest me. But it's unfortunate that because we wasted a combat res that we maybe could have used later. And it just kind of sucks, but it is what it is, you know. Mistakes happen. It is what it is,
Endless
guys. I got
Torment.
greedy. I wasn't really ready. I had health pots, so I definitely could have been like, you know, whenever I die like this, I think to myself like, oh man,
Quickly, mortals.
unlucky, you know, like I couldn't have done anything there. But that's not the truth. Like, for sure, like rewinding there's like at least 3 or 4 possible ways I could have lived. But you know, sometimes you know, you're just gonna make a mistake. Maybe I was focusing too much on healing others, not enough on myself and stuff like that. It happens. But yeah, now we have a pack, you know, pretty free pack. And then I'm guessing we're gonna skip, hopefully,
Curse of
and
Suppression.
then into the gauntlet.
Volatile trap. Echoing thrust.
And this is just kind of like your typical, it's kind of like your
Echoing
typical
thrust.
hunter gameplay, you know? Always pulling something, always effing up, you know?
Echoing thrust.
Especially as a
Dread
hunter, I feel
findings.
like you have no business pulling anything because you have camo and you have
Dread
feign that,
findings.
but
Echoing thrust.
you know, some people just aren't focused enough. You probably
Empowered.
didn't have a invis spot. It happens. Happens to the best of
Echoing
us.
thrust.
There's definitely been like keys that I've killed by body pulling or doing things, so you know, no judgment.
Echoing thrust.
Especially I would say if you're playing with your friends in a pre-made or something, like being upset is okay. Like, you know, you definitely want to process your
Echoing
emotions and
thrust.
deal with them, and you can want to discuss things, but at the end of the day, a healthy mindset needs to be, you know, that mistakes happen and they will happen. Like, I don't know
Echoing
why there's
thrust.
like a lot of players I feel like in this game at the moment, they just kind of like expect people to play without a single mistake. And that is not realistic. Like, even best players in the
Echoing
world
thrust.
make mistake consistently, so you can't expect that from like your regular like folks, you know. And obviously some mistakes are worse, some mistakes are kind of painful or they get you upset and stuff, but you know, if you're playing a team game, you can never expect your teammates to play perfectly because that's never gonna happen. Not in a single game, like that never happens. Yeah, here with General Call, like, she's kind of tough on Tyrannical, honestly. The ability that she casts leaves the dot on. I always forget what it's called. Piercing something. Piercing blur. Is that the name? I don't know.
Gloom
I
squall.
can't remember, but
Shining
it's a tough
radiance.
ability. You wanna try and spread. You wanna try and spread, and you wanna try and be careful with your positioning, especially. And here we kind of got lucky that we killed Ur right as she cast it, and I feel like we could have died there if we didn't get Ur there. Actually, I think we were probably dead on someone for sure. Because even with Ur, like Warlock died, and here we got like the debuff on everybody plus the bursting, so that was an awful combination. But I think Pala used Divine Toll there, so kind of topped everybody up. So that's nice. That's why I like Holy Paladins, to be honest. They just provide a lot of like off heals, and that can be really valuable in hierarchies.
Summon enemy
Here,
collector
you know, this is a
stalker.
lantern pull, big pull. I usually like to save some cities for this as a healer because obviously not it's big pull, so naturally you should have cities, but even more so because I feel like it's very important that people actually get these stacks and not die here. You need people to live, and you know the best way to
Gloom
keep people
squall.
alive is by using some
Shining
cities and
radiance.
stuff. So just make sure you have something here. I think like Apotheosis here is good. Him. I mean, I just named the only two cities that we have, kinda. So just make sure you have them. You know, be ready to keep people alive here. Because this pool can be quite nasty, as you can see, especially if we are like all stacked like we are, and you usually are stacked here. So people should spread when she's casting her piercing blur, I think it's called. You want to make sure that you know not multiple people are getting hit. I think especially on the higher you go on keys, the tougher it gets. And obviously, if you don't have like an off healing tank, it would be kind of impossible to heal all of this. So definitely like Protpala coming in clutch here, and that is one of the reasons why Protpala is one of my favorite tanks. They can be sometimes squishy, but at the moment in the current patch they deal a lot of damage and they provide some off heals, and I think that's pretty cool. Obviously, like current meta
Gloom
kind of
squall.
I
Shining
think
Radiance.
is DK, right? DK is kind of the big dog.
Severing Slice.
People also like monks a lot. Monks are kind of immortal, so that's nice for monks.
Craggy Fracture.
But I personally enjoy playing with
Skin.
Protpalas simply because of their utility, and also because we as a class, we're very squishy, and Protpala will
Craggy
sometimes
Fracture.
provide just enough of that like survivability to us for certain
Severing
mechanics that
Slice.
we can't live on our own. Because you have your sacks, you have your bops, so Protpala definitely can do a lot for the group. Very
Craggy
team-oriented spec, and a really enjoyable one in my opinion.
Stun Skin.
I was thinking about making my Paladin Protpala this season, but I kind of haven't gotten around to do it yet. I also wanted to level a DK to try tanking a little bit, but you only have so much time in a day,
Volatile Trap.
because I'm already working like on
Volatile Trap.
Shami. I timed some 20s with the Shaman, so I might upload some Shaman keys as well. Although I do feel like I'm not a very good Shaman, but could be fun to analyze, the gameplay and stuff. It's always fun to play another spec.
Volatile Trap.
And Rest of Shaman is something I've never played before, so it was quite interesting to learn. A really strong class as well. Feels very different. Like pacing wise, Rest of Shaman feels so different than Holy Priest and Disc Priest.
Volatile Trap.
I like Disc Priest the most in terms of like how fun it is to play, but Disc Priest is struggle like sometimes compared to the both Holy and Resto. That's why I don't play this tier, because it's just kind of pointless. Like it doesn't provide anything that these classes don't provide. Okay, that's not true. It provides a lot of DR, but the value of that DR doesn't outclass the value that these two
Piercing
healers
Blur.
provide at the moment. And Resto Druid, I don't really know that much about Resto Druids, so I don't really know how powerful they are, but I did notice that there's some high Raya people playing Resto Druid. I noticed in the raids, Resto Druids are kind of kings of HPS at the moment by a long shot, it feels like.
Wall.
They're
Shining
putting up
Radiance.
some insane numbers, which is kind of cool for them, because it feels like they've been useless for like 2 tiers now. So it's kind of nice, it's nice having that like high mobility combined with high HPS. It just kind of makes them a powerful healer in a tier where there is a lot of
Piercing
movement. I
Blur.
see like on Philandris they're doing a god's work, I think. On the Crab man himself, that got nerfed to the ground sadly. Rip Crab, but it was a fun boss fight while it lasted.
Shining Radiance.
Yeah, this boss guys, like, there really isn't that much to say here, like,
Piercing Blur.
because this boss doesn't hit tank very hard for the most part. Like, try to dodge the Wicked Rush. That's what it's called, Wicked Rush, right? So you want to try and dodge Wicked Rush. You never want to have 2 stacks on
Piercing
anyone.
Blur.
That's really bad. It's really bad. See this guy, like, he almost died there. But he got bopped by Pala, like a clutch play by Easy Core. He's a guildie, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that. And we were on Discord actually while doing this key, I believe. So
Wall.
we
Shining
could like, talk
Radiance.
about some things and stuff. I don't know if you guys would like to hear, like, if I'm on Discord with people, I don't know if you guys would like to hear Discord, or if you would rather hear like me comment about the run. I feel like Discord could be entertaining, so you can hear comms, but factually speaking, like whenever I'm with friends on Discord, like we don't do these keys like try hard comms, we aren't like, yeah, bop this guy, click this guy, do this, do that. Like we just kind of like do the standard stuff, and we kind of just like trust each other to play properly, and then we just kind of vibe. So I don't think it would be like a very good upload value for you guys, because it's just vibes, and then I
Shining
won't be able
Radiance.
to talk about a key, but I don't know. Maybe I'll upload a few in the future and see how it goes. But yeah, that's gonna be it, guys, for this key. Like pretty fun little key. It went pretty smoothly. I think pretty good damage from the guys. I feel like I could have done a little bit more damage if I focused on it. But honestly, like bursting just kind of makes it hard, because a lot of times like mid bigger pulls where we usually do most of our damage with a boon and trinket, like you have to mass dispel, and that just kind of like ruins any chances of you dealing high damage. So yeah, that's a little bit unlucky, but
Shining Radiance.
there will be our time to shine eventually. I think this week
Piercing Blur.
is currently necrotic, so that's a good week, I think, to deal damage, because you don't need to do healing because you can heal, so it's like nice. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I really do appreciate it. You know, comment, like, subscribe if you're feeling extra crazy. Let me know what you think about the game. Let me know if there's any questions, if you need any help, any tips. A lot of people are asking about add-ons and stuff, but if you just go a little bit through the keys, you can find all the answers. But if you want to ask, I don't mind, like, any questions, anything, any feedback, always appreciate it, guys. And as always, thank you for watching. I hope you guys have a good one, and I hope to see you, you know, again on another key. Much love, guys. Bye bye. See ya.